Oh, good God, Jim Harbaugh, and we gotta talk about it after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You gotta help me with that corner
What's up, kin folks? RJ Young. I'm not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. So it's college football related, sports related. We have a good time, and today I want to talk about the game in which Ohio State handed Jim Harbaugh a historic L. First, I want to encourage you to sign up for my newsletter. If you do so between now and Saturday, you get a chance to win the Hertz lamp. Don't fumble it. All right, so we got to talk about all the ways in which Ohio State destroyed Michigan at the Big House. But first, I kind of want to walk this out by way of OU Texas, for which I am very familiar with. And just follow me here because, well, I wrote this joke for Twitter, and I broke the cardinal rule, which is that Twitter can't read sarcasm. So the setup here is Jim Harbaugh has 3 10-win seasons, still has an opportunity for a 4th, even with this loss to Ohio State. And he has brought that program back from the dead. But in the only game that matters in Ann Arbor, he is an 0 for 5, to which I wrote, I can't imagine an OU or Texas coach, still coaching at either one of those programs with 5 straight losses, to which Twitter attacked me because Mac Brown lost 5 in a row, and that was kind of the joke, right? So I wrote this Mac Brown joke, expecting Twitter to catch up to the sarcasm there, and I was getting stroked for it. So there's that, but the point is the same here. I mean, Urban Meyer even said this to the New York Times. Said, I can't imagine going 0-5 in this game, to which I'm going, nah, man, because that ain't the look. That ain't the look. And now it's an 8th straight win for Ohio State, which has not happened in the 116 times that this game has been played. J.K. Dobbins, Shaquille, out there stroking Michigan. I mean, over 100 yards in the first half. They had like 103. So to put that in perspective, Michigan had given up an average of 105.9 yards rushing per game. They gave up 100 to J.K. Dobbins in the first friggin' half. And this is the second straight game in which the Ohio State Buckeyes have seen your rush defense, your really good rush defense. I mean, Michigan ranked number 13 and Penn State ranked number 2, and they've destroyed it. Coming into the game last week, Penn State was giving up 76 yards rushing per game. Ohio State went 91 yards rushing the ball on the opening friggin' drive. And this is also in a game in which Shea Patterson did not look like, hammered feces. He actually looked decent when he didn't fumble the football. I mean, he had over 250 yards passing through the third quarter. And this is on a Ohio State defense that had been one of the stingiest in pass defense. Matter of fact, just 3 200-yard passing performances before this game going into it, and then giving up just 126 yards passing on average. Michigan saw something, was able to exploit it, right? Couldn't much run the ball, couldn't much take care of the ball. I mean, you're giving up the booty too. That's the part that this really hurts. It's like, as good as Ohio State was, because they were good. But check this out. At one point, we're looking around for Chase Young, and he's non-existent. He's a ghost, all right? You've also, as I mentioned, thrown for over 250 yards in this game. And yet the scoreboard read 42-16 midway through the third quarter, toward the end of the third quarter. And we're all going, that is why Ohio State is the number 1 team in the country. That's why LSU is number 2. Because even in a game like this, where Chase Young, your best player, the best player to many in college football, is basically being stymied by a really good Michigan offensive line in pass pro and in run pro. Not run pro, but in run blocking. You still are getting destroyed. To say nothing of watching Garrett Wilson have his ascension, man. The kiddo from Austin, Texas, had 3 catches for 118 yards and a tutty through 3 quarters. Again, amazing play from him. And the kiddo, J.K. Dobbins from LaGrange, as I mentioned. For OU fans that are watching this, the comp for Jace McClellan, 2025 star, who's committed and probably going to sign in this early signing period, is J.K. Dobbins. He doesn't have necessarily breakaway game speed, but he has excellent vision. He's got really good hands out of the backfield. He can block for you, and you don't really have to worry about whether or not he's going to show up to work. It's the thing I like the most about Shaquille. That dude is going to show up to work, and he has loved being the workhorse tailback for Ryan Day's offense. And as much as we talk about Ryan Day wanting to throw the ball all over the field, they have established a run out of the spread. They will just put it in JK's belly and say, no, we'll take what we can get. And how about Justin Fields, who, if you were looking for a reason as to why Justin Fields is one of the best quarterbacks in America, you probably were looking all the way around. It's like, yeah, I know he's got 33 passing TDs. I know he's got just one pick. I know he's got 10 rushing TDs, 43 overall. But he felt like more of a compliment to this Ohio State offense as opposed to the focal point. Like, say, Jalen Hurts feels like a focal point of OU's offense. Or even Joe Burrow feels like a focal point of LSU's offense. We're so caught up on Tua Tagovailoa that he felt like the focal point of their offense. But when you looked at Ohio State, you're like Chris Olave, Austin Mack, Benjamin Victor, Luke Farrell from time to time, and of course J.K. Dobbins, and you're going, I don't know. Well, my man gets his knee bent in, goes into the medical tent, comes out with a brace on his left knee. First play, he comes back in, and he drops a dime rolling to his left to Garrett Wilson, to which that is how you show everybody what your value is. And why the Buckeyes seem like they're on a freight train straight to the national championship game. I still think that Clemson gives them the best road bump, but this team is doing historically awesome things against really good competition. On the other hand, Jim Harbaugh just ain't showing up for this game, man. His teams is not, they're not very good. As my homeboys over at College Football Nerds actually pointed out, how many times is Don Brown's defense going to get housed before you decide to go get another defensive coordinator? Shout out to Dax Hill, who did show up to play and did play pretty well. But goodness me, you had opportunities to get off the field if you are Michigan, and you kept giving Ohio State the ball. And if Michigan was going to win this game, and there was moments in there where it felt like the momentum could shift for them, they were going to have to play clean, and they just didn't do it. We're hitting people out of bounds. We're getting false starts, or not false starts. We're getting encroachment penalties on punt return. This is stuff that cannot happen. You really, Giles, man, that dude was trying to help you out. The freshman out here making plays, and you're just taking them out of his hands. Shea Patterson. Man, it felt like Shea Patterson was looking really comfortable back there in the pocket. It felt like he saw the defense, he saw what coverages they were running through, and he was taking advantage of the weak link in the defense for Ohio State, which is a really difficult thing to do. As a matter of fact, I think Josh Gaddis might have outcalled Jeff Hafley in this game. But it also goes to show you how well Ohio State is recruited, because it doesn't matter. They've got better players. Their Jimmies are better than your Joes. And they didn't necessarily get home, but they got off the field. And then Jim Harbaugh. Yo, bro, you're down 42-16. 3 ain't going to help you. What the hell are you kicking a field goal for, dog? Math. Hello, math. I don't understand what Jim Harbaugh thinks he's going to get out of all these field goals. You know, the one thing that I actually respected in Texas Tech yesterday on Black Friday was that Matt Wells just said, to hell with the punter. We're going for on fourth down because we got to get tutties. We got to get tutties if we're going to be the team that's more talented than us. Now, they didn't, and Texas finished this mediocre 7-5. But the point that I'm making here is, why wasn't Jim Harbaugh in that frame of mind? That is not the kind of thinking that is going to endear you to the Wolverine fan base. Yes, 10-win seasons are awesome. Going to play in pretty cool bowl games is awesome, right? But you got to beat Ohio State, man. You got to do it. I get that the program is in really good shape, and they have top 25 wins, and they reeled off 4 straight, and Shea Patterson has done some pretty remarkable things as a Michigan quarterback. Still, we only tune in to watch this one game, man. Everybody else does too. And the problem with this is that it seems to mean so much more to not just the Buckeyes football team, but the Buckeyes nation to win the game than it does to Michigan fans. And I don't know what to help or say about that, because that feels like apathy. You're paying Jim Harbaugh $7.5 million to do what exactly? To win this football game. You know, I know Michigan fans think that they should be playing a national championship game from time to time, but right now you can't even get out of the Big Ten East. It's that bad. You can't even win your division because Ohio State is just destroying you. You might get a win against Penn State. You might skull drag Notre Dame. And then you get housed by Ohio State with a first-year head coach. And Ryan Day is into it, man. Every single possession, his heart is on his sleeve. He's out there loving what his offense and defense are doing. And all I see from Michigan and Jim Harbaugh is what? I mean, he's making faces over there, but faces don't win you football games. And you had this game at home. This is in front of your fans in one of the biggest stadiums in all the world. And what do you do but get embarrassed on national television? If I'm a Wolverines fan, I say get him the hell out. Send him to coach the Dallas Cowboys. Send him to coach in the NFL again because it ain't working. Not when this game happens. And that's really what this is about. That's what I wanted to point to you about. Jim Harbaugh has to win one football game every year. If he won it this time, nobody really wants him fired, and nobody is going to look to get him fired for another 2 years. It's kind of like what I say about OU Texas. Every win that Texas gets over Oklahoma buys that head coach 3 years additional to his contract, right? It's the reason why I made the Mac Brown joke because, Texas is in a, perfectly normal state of mediocrity because that's what Texas is. In the last 40 years, they've won 7 conference championships outright. Texas has not really been that good since integration, okay? That's how bad Texas football has been. At least Michigan has been there, man, in the last 20 years. Lloyd Carr had them in there, and there were those years where Tressel was running the show, and then, of course, we could talk about Hoke and whatnot. But my God, I see Urban Meyer was ill leading up to this game, and he was ill thinking about what it might mean to lose this football game. I don't see that with Jim Harbaugh. I get that he's a Michigan man. I get that that's his squad. I get that he's the quarterback that claimed that they were going to beat Ohio State and then did, but he's also the guy busting nuts over the top of Bo Schembechler's monument. And by monument, I mean grave, where the dude was laid to rest. I don't know what he sees. He's taking trips to Rome and Italy and doing the satellite camp thing. We would say that Jim Harbaugh can recruit, but it doesn't seem like he can recruit any defensive linemen. Okay? They can't get any push. I love Dax Hill. One of my favorite 2019 kiddos and one of my favorite kids to watch play defense. But are you using him correctly? Do you need to make a change with Don Brown? Because you brought in Josh Gaddis because your pro-style offense was not working. And quite frankly, Shea Patterson ain't built to run that kind of a scheme. So what else would we need to see from this team before we just decide that Michigan is the same as Texas, is the same as Notre Dame? They're just in that second tier, and that's all there is to say about it. And in Ohio, football just means more. That's how I see it. In Ohio, they got to win this game. In Ohio, Cincinnati is a 2-loss team. Miami of Ohio won 7 games. Ohio Bobcats did not care that Akron was 0 for 11. They stuck it to them. You want to win football games if you play football in the state of Ohio. I don't feel that way about Michigan. I just don't. As for what will happen next, Ohio State, finish the historic run. Don't squander this. You are beating people, and not just beating people, but in the way that most people would want to see a national champion beat people down. You have played an outstandingly difficult schedule despite what anybody says. You're the only top 25 team to play 12 straight FBS opponents. You're 18-0 going back to last year since you got embarrassed by Purdue. Now is your time. Ascend. This isn't even your final form. Take it to the full Vegeta level. Let's rock this thing like Frieza. Let's see what you got left. Because Clemson ain't going to take this line down, and LSU still thinks that they can play with y'all. We're going to find out for sure. But first, you got to get through the Big Ten championship against Minnesota or Wisconsin. And I thought Michigan had a better opportunity to beat you than either one of those. So we'll just have to wait and see. All right, that's it for me. Deuces.